All right. It's 2017, a brand new year. A lot of times we're going to start setting those New Year's resolutions. I hope you listened to the last episode. This episode, we're going to talk about detoxification and how it's so essential for your health.
Welcome to the What Up Doc University podcast, your number one resource for total body wellness. Here's your host, Dr. Mike.
So welcome back to this episode, and I hope you had a very happy new year, and I hope you took my advice. I posted up something prior to New Year's, and I wanted people to see the effects of too much drinking upon your liver. And it was a very graphic video that showed what happens to the liver when you partake in too much alcohol. So I hope you guys had a very good new year, but you didn't kill your body too much. So now we're into the brand new year. It's January. Some of you may be listening to this later on, but right now it's January. In the last episode, we talked about setting goals and what's going to be, in store for your brand new year. And hopefully you guys sat down, crafted out your goals, looked at what are some of the things that you guys wanted to be accomplishing in this year. And hopefully you guys looked at the worksheet, did the worksheet, and started crafting that out. Because if you guys know what you guys want, and then you guys know how to get it, you guys are going to start taking action upon it. And daily actions towards your health is something that's needed. And that's one of the big things that I see, with patients that come into my office, is that one of the reasons why they fall into chronic illnesses and chronic diseases is just reaching that state of not participating in your health and just kind of letting your health go by the wayside. So, one thing I always tell my patients is that health is an active participating sport. Disease is very passive. So you have to look at things from a point of, how do I actively be involved with my health? And it comes down to small daily actions. Even if it's just something as simple as just getting up and going for a walk, or maybe instead of sitting down all day long, maybe standing up half of the day. Something simple to start taking active participation for our health. All right. In this episode, we're going to be going over a little bit of, this will kind of be a reminder of some of the topics that we talked about before. And at the beginning of the year, everybody's setting brand new resolutions. One of the most common one is weight loss. But we're not going to talk about weight loss in this episode. We're going to talk about the thing that we need to look at before we even start addressing the weight loss. And weight loss is one of those big issues, or one of the common things that I see people for. People, they're like, hey doc, I need to lose weight, or the extra weight is causing me this chronic health disease. And what I always focus on first before we even look at weight loss is detoxification. And that's what we're going to talk about in this episode. We talked about it in a couple previous episodes, and I want you guys to go back. I'll put those links up in the show notes. But I wanted to talk about detoxification and jumping a little bit more into it. I want to give you guys a couple actionable steps that you guys can take before you guys start partaking in a weight loss program, or if you're already in it, what you can do to even enhance that. All right, let's take a look at that. So let's look at even the reasons why we need to detoxify. Well, as you guys already know, I'm a big proponent for detoxification. And the reason is we live in a toxic world. Take a look around us, guys. I mean, you see pollution everywhere. You see smog. You can smell it in the water. You see it in the foods that we're eating with the pesticides, herbicides, insecticides. We're being bombarded by toxins all around. And it's been estimated that by the time from when you wake up to about the time you leave your home, you're being exposed to about 3,000 to 4,000 adverse chemicals that can affect your body and really bring your health down. I read an article on CNN, and I'll put a link to this in the show notes. It said that these 5 toxins are everywhere. Okay, these 5 toxins are everywhere, and you can't escape these. The first one was BPA. And these are found in all the plastics. We're always being exposed to plastics, and thankfully, they're becoming more aware that BPA is a very bad thing. So they're taking that out of the plastics. Second one, another one that's also found in plastic called phthalates. And phthalates is one of the things that they inject into plastics to make it more malleable so that you can actually bend the plastics. This is what makes plastic plasticky. Okay, so phthalates is really bad for your cells, especially for women. It's been found that in a lot of breast cancers, the tumors itself has huge amounts of phthalate storage, within the cells. So you got to stay away from phthalates. Number 3 was PFOA, perfluorooctanoic acid, PFOAs. This is found in Teflons, all the non-stick stuff, water repellent, and almost every single home has some type of Teflon, water repellent things. The 4th one is formaldehyde. This is found in, almost everywhere. The furnitures that are in our homes. If you have anything that's made out of press wood, there's formaldehyde in that. For those who partook in the New Year's drinking festivities, formaldehyde's most of them is found in a lot of the alcohols, or your body turns it into formaldehyde. And then the last one was PBDEs, or polybrominated biphenyl ethers. These are your flame retardants. And this is commonly found in beds. I see a lot of patients that come in, and a lot of them are saying that they're living clean lives and they're being toxified by their beds. So there's things that you can do to make sure that these toxins are not getting into your system. And if there already are, we're going to talk about what do we do to get it out. But let's first talk about what are some of the signs and symptoms that you are toxic. Okay. I see patients that has all kinds of different diseases, and the commonality behind all diseases is an accumulation of toxins into the tissues, and wherever those toxins accumulate is where you'll have the disease. So if you have abundance of toxicity within the pancreas, you'll have some type of pancreatic disease, whether it's pancreatitis or diabetes. It's just an abundance of toxicity there. If you have an abundance of toxins that's stored in the brain, you can have dementia, Alzheimer's. You can have even just a lack of being able to remember things. Okay. If you look at almost every single disease, there's a component of toxicity in there. So you can have symptoms of fatigue, hyperactivity, chronic headaches, fuzzy thinking, metallic taste in your mouth is another big one, restless legs, difficulty sleeping, either staying asleep or going to sleep, unexplained muscle aches, joint stiffness, joint aches, swelling of the joints, puffiness in the face, fingers, in your feet, recurring sinus infections is another big one. Actually, recurring infections overall is a sign of overabundance of toxicity. Have you guys ever seen people who just have that look in their eyes as glassy, and it's not because they're smoking an herbal remedy. They just have glassy, spaced out looks. That's a sign of toxicity as well. What is another one? Having to chronically clear your throat. You have those friends that always have to clear their throat because they have that post-nasal drip? Sign of toxicity as well. If you have any type of skin issue, a chronic skin issue, that's toxins trying to get out of the pores and irritating the pores. Asthma is another one, breathing issues. Any type of digestive issues, whether it's heartburn, intestinal gas, constipation, diarrhea, halitosis, bad breath. Let's see, heartbeat, irregular heartbeats. So a lot of people don't relate that, but irregular heartbeats has been linked towards overabundance of toxicity. Let's get into some of the emotional parts. So being highly irritable. If you're around a person, they're very highly irritable, they go off at, the snap of a finger. Signs of toxicity. Inability to speak, hoarseness, and on and on and on. Almost every single thing that you feel your body not functioning the way that it's supposed to, it's a sign of toxicity. So whenever a patient comes into my office, the first place we always start off is detoxification. Now, it's kind of popular, around. Yeah, I read a lot of health blogs. I see a lot of different health podcasts, um, different health gurus out there talking about detoxification. It's become very popular these days, and I see a lot of detoxification systems. One-off products that talk about, oh, this is the magic bullet for detoxification, and a lot of them aren't doing it properly. There's a physiological way that you need to detoxify, and a lot of the products or these systems that tout detoxification, really, they're not really doing much. They're basically a colon cleanse, and in my opinion, and from a clinical standpoint, I see that they're actually causing more harm than good. So there's good intentions, but the intentions all doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get a great outcome. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I want to give you guys just a general outline. It's going to be very general, by the way, a general outline of what we use in our clinic as far as a step sequence on how to detoxify. Okay. But before that, people always ask, well, where do I get toxins from? Well, there's four main components, or four main areas that I see toxicity coming from. One is your physical toxins. These are the ones that we know that we just talked about. The the chemicals and all that stuff. That those are pretty obvious. The next one is emotional toxins, and these next three are the ones that we kind of overlook. We don't think about the emotional toxins. The aberrant thinking patterns, how we think the wrong thoughts over and over and over again. Stuff like worry or grief or being angry. All these emotions actually create a physiological response. If you read the book Molecules of Emotion by Candace Pert, she talks about this, how every single thought relates to some type of neural peptide being produced in the body. And if you have an overabundance of these negative thought patterns, or even just a singular thought pattern that's being thought of over and over called autosuggestion, you can actually emotionally toxify the body with these neuropeptides. Okay, so this is one area that needs to be addressed. The next one is spiritual toxins, and this can also come from the standpoint of, well, I believe something on a conscious level, but on a subconscious level, it doesn't resonate with me. I'm sticking to a belief system regardless of what I know and feel to be right. And I see this a lot, in practice of spiritual toxicity, and this is something that needs to be addressed as well. And then the last one, which we're slowly coming to look at as being a viable source of toxicity, and before, this was kind of shunned off to the side, which is electrotoxins or electrosmog, and how dirty electricity, radio frequencies, the stuff flying through the air that we can't see, how it's affecting our bodies. So this is becoming a really big issue. So the four, again, are physical toxins, emotional toxins, spiritual toxins, and electrotoxins. And there's other stuff that falls into place, like geopathic stressors, which is coming from the earth and all these stuff. But these are the four major ones that I deal with in practice. So now let's get into the nitty gritty of how do we start getting rid of this stuff. So the way you have to look at it is all the toxins accumulate within the cells. So if the cells start accumulating it, they don't work properly. And the way you have to visualize this is that a cell is like your house, and your house sits in a community, and the community is the organ. Okay. And if one house starts to get toxic, that doesn't necessarily bother the community. But if each house within the community, so each cell, right, if they're all getting toxified because there's a source of toxicity coming in, what happens to the entire community if all of the houses are being filled up with trash? Well, the community doesn't function properly. So we have to start within the house itself. Okay. So we have to start within the cell and getting all the garbage out of the cell. And then we have to, once we get it out of the cell, we have to bag it up properly so that the garbage men that come around can take it away nicely. What a lot of these detoxification programs do is they just send in the garbage men and there's no garbage to pick up on the street because the people running the homes weren't instructed on how to bag up their trash properly. Okay. So where we have to start first. Okay. Again, let's look at the community. We have this community and the trash is starting to fill up in the streets. Now, if the trash is filled up in the streets, it's very difficult for the garbage men to come around and pick up all the trash. So what we got to do is we got to start cleaning up the streets first. So the first place we start in every single detoxification program is opening up all of the channels of elimination. Okay, what we call clearing out the channels. So what we need to do is open up the channels, which is the organs that get the toxins out. Okay, so the first place I actually start patients off with is we look at their current diet and we start off with an elimination diet. Okay, we're gonna pull out all the stuff so we stop putting more trash in the street. Then we want to go on an elimination diet. Okay. Now, after the elimination diet, we want to start getting into clearing, right? We want to clear out these routes of detoxification. So there are 3 major routes that we want to focus on that, we can address. First one is your colon. We got to make sure that the colon is cleared out. There was a naturopathic doctor, Dr. Bernard Jensen, who was very, very adamant about clearing out the colon. And he devised a program that would actually cleanse out the colon. And his whole belief, which was proven, by the way, his whole belief was that inside of the colon, there was a mucus layer that would build up and hold toxins within this mucus layer. And that in order to be an effective detoxification program, you actually had to get that mucus layer off of the walls. So it's kind of like you're going into the pipes of your body, of your house, and you got to scrub off all that grime that was built up. So he created this program, and what it would do was eat away at this mucoid plaque. And not to get graphic here, but you would actually poop out this mucoid plaque. And sometimes it would be like 4 to 5, 6 feet long of this black, like it looks like this long snake, this rubbery snake. And this was part of clearing out the colon, and this is where it all starts, because if you're constipated, you're not getting rid of the toxins. And if you're constipated, you're actually not just getting not getting rid of the toxins, you're actually reabsorbing the toxins. It's kind of gross, right? So this is called auto intoxication. You're trying to get rid of the toxins, but the guys taking out the trash, all they do is they go around the block and they come back and put the trash right back where it started. That's what happens when you're constipated. And the number one cure for constipation, getting hydrated. You got to drink more water. So we're going to talk about that. So the first route is the colon. Next route is your kidneys. The kidneys will filter out a lot of the other toxins, the water-soluble toxins, and get that out of your body as quickly as possible. Problem is, and you're going to see a very common pattern here, guys. The problem is most people aren't hydrated enough. So if you're not hydrated enough, you're not going to urinate enough, and you're just going to hold those toxins in. So, we're going back to that analogy of the community. Okay, you got to clear out the streets, and sometimes you got to pressure wash the streets. You got to actually flood the streets. So in the beginning part of your detoxification program, you got to get rehydrated. So we're going to start with the elimination diet. We're going to eliminate the common offenders, which is usually wheat, corn, dairy, soy, eggs. We're going to eliminate those, and we're going to increase water intake. Okay, I usually recommend for the average person about 1 liter for every 50 pounds of body weight, and 1 liter bonus on top of that. Okay, so for the average person, 150 pounds, you could be drinking 3 liters plus 1, so 4 liters total. at the beginning part of your detoxification program. Your body's going to need a lot more water. And just by doing those two things, eliminating the common offenders, wheat, corn, dairy, soy, and eggs, and hydrating your body, you're going to start to feel a lot better. You're going to start to notice your skin to improve, energy levels, digestion, just by those two things. Okay. Because we focused on, we're focusing on the colon and the kidneys. And the third one is lymphatics. So your lymphatics is what pumps out all the waste. You want to get that to get, the lymphatics is the streets. Okay. So we want to be able to pump and flow the lymphatics. The interesting thing about the lymphatics is it doesn't have its own pump like the heart does, right? The heart pumps out the blood into circulation, but the lymphatics, which is basically the opposite of the circulatory or the other part of the circulatory system, this part of the body doesn't have any pumps. It relies on muscle contraction, muscle movement. So elimination diet, getting hydrated, and also movement. So even just something like walking for 20 minutes a day, that's going to stimulate the movement in your body. And there's going to be other things that we can do, but I'm not going to get all into that today. Okay, so we covered colon, we covered kidneys, we covered the lymphatics. Those are the routes of detoxification. Then we want to get to the detoxification plants. Okay, we cleared out the streets. Now we want to instruct each cell how to bag up the trash. We want to tell each cell that there is trash within, the rooms of the house. And that's where we're going to focus on the liver. Okay, we're going to focus on the liver. The liver, what it does is it helps to take out all of the harmful toxins and makes it non-toxic. Okay. And then we're going to look at there's basically three other categories that we want to address, that we want to help the cells to get rid of. Okay. One is heavy metals. Next one is persistent organic pollutants. These are like your pesticides, insecticides, herbicides, all of the ides, these different chemicals and solvents and the man-made stuff. And if you listen to the other episode, you'll hear me when I talk about that after World War II, over 80,000 different man-made chemicals were released into the environment. And these chemicals, our body has no idea how to get rid of it. So if it doesn't know how to get rid of it, it stores it. And it stores it within the cellular matrix. Okay. So either within the connective tissues itself or within the cell itself. That's a bad thing, right? It's kind of like we're storing the trash. We don't know where to put it. There's no landfills. The landfills are all filled up. So we just leave it out in the streets, and then it starts backflowing into the homes. Okay. So we got to look at heavy metals and persistent organic pollutants, and then parasites. Okay. These three go hand in hand. Okay. If I see huge amounts of parasites, I know that there's heavy metals and persistent organic pollutants. They all go hand in hand. So we got to make sure that we're doing things to get rid of these heavy metals. Stuff like buffer vitamin C, glutathione is going to be really good to help getting rid of the heavy metals, persistent organic pollutants. Chlorella is another good one. Cilantro, good for heavy metals, specifically like mercury. And then parasites don't like wormwood. Now, the thing with a parasitic detoxification is you have to cycle it. Okay, you're going to do like a 2 week on, 2 week off, 2 week on. So it's going to be about a total of 6 weeks for parasitic cleanses. And total for a detoxification program that I put patients through is anywhere between 2 to 4 months of getting rid of and clearing out the body. Okay, so let me refresh again. We got to start with the elimination diet. We're going to hydrate. Okay, we're going to hydrate. We're going to get some movement, and then we are going to start adding in nutrients like increasing glutathione, vitamin C, and then taking stuff like wormwood that will actually help to get rid of the parasites. Okay, but there's a sequence that this all goes in, and what I did was I put together a detoxification program. And it will be ready probably in the next 4 to 5 weeks. and it's going to be a complete plan that you can implement, that you can use it alongside. If you're on a weight loss program, or if you have any of those things that I read off, those signs and symptoms, you can use this to get rid of all of the toxins stored in your body. And again, this is just step one of getting, what I call the road back to health. Step one is detoxification, but it's a huge step, but I know that if you just take the elimination diet, rehydrate and get moving, just those three things, you'll feel a lot better. But I created a program called the Detox Plan, the Complete Detox Plan, and it's a roughly about a 4-month program that you guys can utilize, and then you guys can see a huge benefits. And what it is, it's a plan that details out every single step. There's a calendar that you guys can follow. There are the different things that I recommend for each of the different routes of detoxification, how you can amplify the detoxification in those areas, stuff like how to stimulate the colon, how to actually, if you have digestive issues, what do you do to boost that back up and help that to repair? What things are good for the kidneys? What are some of the fruits, vegetables, supplements that you need for each of those things? What do you do to stimulate the lymphatics? How do you get this to work faster? What do we do for the liver? How do we know if the liver it needs more of a boost in one of the different phases of detoxification, whether it's phase 1, phase 2, or phase 3? Okay. How do we specifically deal with the heavy metals and parasites? All of this stuff is going to be included in the detox plan. So, for those of you who are part of my VIP insiders, you guys are going to get this, like I said before, those who took that leap, months ago when I sent out that email, whoever was on the email list that took part in getting on the VIP insiders, you guys are going to get this no charge, free for you guys. What I'm going to do for you guys that are listening to this right now, if you guys are on the email list, you guys will get an email about this. Okay. Now the course in and of itself will retail. I'm going to put it out at retail at $297. So $297 will be the complete course. Patients come to my office for this, and we charge upwards a couple of $1,000s for this, for my time and them spending time in my office. But this is going to be a course that you guys can do at home, a home treatment regimen that you guys can partake in. So regular is going to be $297, but what I want you guys to do is get on the list. So go to the website, www.whatupdocuniversity.com, WHDDUPDOC University, DOC University.com. I'm getting confused with my own self. Go to the website and then make sure that you opt into our emailing list. And I'll be sending out emails about when it's going to be coming out, and you guys will get, a backseat look at development of all this and all that kind of stuff, and you guys will get a special price for this. So because you guys are listening right now to this, you guys are gonna get a special price on it. Okay, so instead of the $297, what I'll be selling it for right now up until I want to say, I'm shooting for early part of February, mid-February-ish, to get it released. So you opt in now and then get on the list, and then there'll be a special link that you guys can go to actually pre-order this program. Okay, there'll be a special link for you guys to pre-order the program, and it'll only cost you guys $47. Okay, so I'm discounting it from $297 for the early birders. The guys that are pre-ordering it, it'll be $47 for this program. And when you opt into the email list on our website, you guys will see, you guys will get in the email and see the structure of the program and all that fun stuff. So go to the website, whatupdocuniversity.com, and just opt into the email list, and then you guys will get updates on that. I wanted to leave you guys with something that maybe some of you have seen already. I wanted to talk about one of my partners that I partnered up with. within the last couple months, a company called Organifi, and specifically the reason why I partnered up with them is I loved what they did with their green juice, or what I call their green drink. I'm a big proponent for juicing, but what I started to see was there was two things. One, a lot of people didn't understand how to juice, and they were doing it improperly, and it was really raising their blood sugars, and we weren't getting the right results that we wanted. And then the second part was people wanted to juice, but they just didn't want to go out. They didn't have the time, or they just didn't have the resources to get all of those vegetables and fruits and put it in the blender, and then they didn't, and just like, oh doc, it doesn't taste good, and just the level of compliance wasn't there. So I was looking for something. Well, first I was trying to develop one myself, and I saw how much money it costs to actually go into developing a product, and it's just like, that's just ridiculous. There has to be something somebody created on the market, and luckily I ran across these guys, and I decided to jump on board, and really utilize their product. So I tried it on myself. I really liked it. First of all, what I look for is the ingredients. I have to make sure that the ingredients are clean. And if you look at the ingredients, it's all organic, non-GMO, vegan, and it's all cold pressed, meaning that it's still retaining the viability of the greens that it's using. Stuff like chlorella, spirulina. And one of the big parts that I really liked of what they put in was ashwagandha. And what ashwagandha does is an adaptogen that really helps your body to deal with stress. And this was one of the big issues with a lot of our patients, is that if you can't handle that stress response, the body will never heal. It's always in that sympathetic fight or flight drive. So what this is doing is it's calming that fight or flight drive down, getting it into a healing mode, and giving the body the nutrients that it needs. So I partnered with a company called Organifi with their green drink, and for our listeners, if you guys want to try it, you go to whatupdocuniversity.com/green drink and put in the code Dr. Mike, Dr. Mike, or after you can just go to that link right there, and it'll already populate with the code Dr. Mike. But if you go to organifishop.com, if you're going there, make sure you put in the code Dr. Mike. That'll give you 15% off of your orders. And I know they run specials every now and then. At the beginning of the year, they're running a 4-pack, buy 4 bottles, and you get, I think it's for like $200 or something like that for a 4-pack, which is pretty awesome. Considering that you don't have to go out and get all the fruits and vegetables. If you tried to get all the things that's included in that, it would be next to impossible. And then making it taste good. And that's the other part, is compliance. It really does taste good. It doesn't taste like a green drink. Most green drinks taste like a green drink, which people don't like. So compliance is really low with it. So if it doesn't taste good, most people aren't going to drink it. And you could be the best thing in the world, but if it's not getting in your body, it doesn't matter. So this tastes really good, my kids like it. So that's always one of my litmus tests. Okay. And another company that, most of you guys probably know by now that, I'm a big proponent for is Yoli the Better Body Company. And at the beginning of the year, they're offering $30 off of the transformation kits. And, the transformation kits is, one of the big cornerstones of our practice. If you guys really listen to this episode, the transformation kit covers all those areas of detoxification. And by removing the toxins and getting your body healthier, your body doesn't have to store the extra weight. So all you have to do is jump on a transformation kit. You can actually order those directly from my clinic's website, Velocity Wellness. So you go to velocitywellness.com/PC enroll. So velocitywellness.com/PC enroll. And, the month of January, you're going to be able to get your transformation kits $30 off of its regular price. That's a great deal, guys. So I hope you guys found some of that information valuable. Go out and if you like our podcast, if you hate our podcast, whatever, leave us a review. Go up to iTunes and leave us a review. There's a link in the show that you guys can leave us a review. The more reviews we get, the more we can start spreading this message of health and wellness throughout the world. And I truly believe that a healthy person makes a healthier family, which makes healthier communities. Healthier communities make healthier cities. Healthier cities makes healthier states, and healthier states makes a healthier country, which makes a healthier world. And it all starts with us on the inside. So till next time, this is Dr. Mike from What Up Doc University. Be well and aloha.